Greetings, whiskey folk! Welcome back to Drinking Out Loud and today's official Dram Association unbottling of a beautiful little pair of Kavalans. Alright, if you've never had a Kavalan before, these are quite interesting, quite a treat. And if you're a Dram Association member, well, now's your opportunity, because this is your free dram for the month of May. From now until halfway through June, you'll be able to come into the store, try a dram of this, completely free, just walk in and ask for your dram. And if you're a premium member, you get this one too. Normally I'd separate these into two videos, but there's a bit of a story to tell between these two whiskies, so I wanted to combine them. So I'm sorry for the extra FOMO for those of you who aren't premium members. But hey, you can still buy a bottle at 10% off if you feel like it. And also, hey, it's only $10 a month. Sign up for the premium subscription next month and you won't have that FOMO. It's a FOMO-beating deal, $10 a month. All right, so why Kavalan? Why today? It's because at the time of recording, this is the Saturday before the Monday release, it is World Whisky Day, a celebration of all things whiskey around the world. And this is a world whiskey, and it's one of the world whiskies that really put the concept of world whiskey on the map back a few years ago. So in, what year was it? 2015? Somewhere around there, halfway through the 2010s, this distillery caught a lot of people's attention because it won the best whiskey at the World Whisky Awards. The best, I think it was the single malt. Yeah, best single malt at the World Whisky Awards. And I mean, it had been highlighted by some particularly prominent authors at the time as well. But, you know, an author's opinion is just one person's opinion, and they might have a very good opinion, a very important opinion, but at the end of the day, it's just like my opinion or your opinion. Awards are generally a little bit more trustworthy because there's more than one person that's tasting it. You're getting more of a group opinion, which is why here at the Dram Association, we score our whiskies as a group score. You don't get my score. I never give you my score in the Dram Association. Because my score, frankly, doesn't matter. It's everyone's score combined, which really matters. And that's what I like about whiskey awards rather than just as a single person's opinion as well. So the World Whisky Awards are a pretty big deal, and they're pretty good. There's always, you've got to pay to enter, so not everyone, you can't say that it's the world's best whiskey. Realistically, it's the world's best whiskey that entered the awards, right? They're not trying every single whiskey. And that's one thing that some authors will have over an award, is they're actually a little bit more tasting of a wider variety. But that being said, a lot of the people who expect that they might win a World Whisky Award will enter the World Whisky Award. So it kind of balances itself out, I would say. But yeah, Kavalan really put the concept of world whiskey on the map, and it also raised a lot of eyebrows because they don't ever give an age statement. In fact, we had an SNWS Kavalan a couple of years ago. It was the first ever single cask SNWS I'd ever had without a number on it. They didn't tell you when it was made because, as we all know from personal experience, and we've all got a friend a bit like this, everyone matures at a different rate, and the same is said for whiskey. Maturation is not a measurement of time, it's a measurement of what happens within that time. And everyone's yardstick is kind of based on Scotland, right? Got to be 12 years to be a real single malt. Well, that's rubbish even in Scotland. And in a climate like Taiwan, where Kavalan is made, it's completely different. The measuring stick is off. Another way that you could measure maturation, or an idea of how mature a whiskey might be from purely numbers, is evaporation rates. In Scotland, 1 or 2% a year is pretty normal. Kavalan, Taiwan, 12% a year is pretty normal. So a 1-year-old Kavalan theoretically is, as much as a 10-year-old Scotch. I mean, obviously those numbers it's not a perfect system, but there is something to be said by measuring maturity via evaporative rates, because realistically the maturation of whiskey is the interaction between the spirit and the wood, and it interacts more in a hotter climate, and the more evaporates, the more interaction there is. It's simple chemistry. I say simple chemistry, incredibly complex chemistry, which I personally don't really understand either. But yeah, I mean, young Kavalan does taste older than young Scotch, simply from that climate. And I mean, it's a bold statement to just not put any numbers on there. I understand the idea that putting a number on here would confuse people, because, why would I want a 2-year-old, 3-year-old whiskey if I'm used to seeing 12, 15? What I would love for Kavalan to do is to do what I've seen SMOS, Single Malts of Scotland, recently on that Tea and Innic that we have. They actually have the evaporation rate on the cask, how much that cask's loss was. It was like 26% or something over the 11 years. I'd love for Kavalan to release that information. Don't tell me it's a 2-year-old. Tell me that there was only 65% of the cask left, and that'll give me an idea of, whoa, okay, cool. That's what we're talking about here. I think that'd be really cool. They might do that in some of their premium releases. I haven't really checked, but it'd be cool to see it on the more standard releases as well. Speaking of releases, what do we got today? Well, we've got the Distillery Select No.1, and we have the triple sherry cask, distinct sherry cask matured. All right, we'll start with the free dram. So I'll stick this to one side, grab myself a glass, and let the unbottling begin. I should mention, actually, before I get to actually unbottling the whiskey, sorry. So it's a quick segue. World Whisky Awards is still a trend that you'll see distilleries from around the world winning best of awards, and even non-age statement whiskies. Big shout out to 2 incredible award winners from the newly announced World Whisky Awards. Best single malt this year went to Milk and Honey, a small distillery in Israel, and their young Israeli whiskey, again from a hot climate, just blew everything else out of the water. And we're talking like there was, 40-year-old scotches and things that entered into that award, and this won. Another shout out to Macaloni's Island Distillery right here in Victoria. They won the best pot still whiskey in the world with their Kildara release, which means that looking at other ones that were actually in the running, this 3-year-old Canadian pot still whiskey, in a blind taste with a panel of experts, was thought of to be better than a 27-year-old Redbreast, which is mind-blowing. So congratulations to everyone involved in the creation of that whiskey over at Macaloni and over at Milk and Honey as well. And we have to thank Kavalan, though, for really kind of making that possible, for really forging that path for international world whiskies. All right, so what do we got? No.1 Distillery Select, delicate and silky, full with the scent of tropical fruits, fragrant floral notes, and sweet vanilla. This is a single malt. This is a standard single malt with very little cask influence. The whole idea behind this one is the Distiller Select. We want to see what the distiller's been up to, not the cask person. We want to see the pure, unadulterated spirit of Kavalan, what that tropical fruit bomb is going to be like on its own, without being heavily influenced by the wood. All right. King Car Distillery, yeah, shout out. King Car Distillery is the name of the distillery that makes the Kavalan whiskey range. Been going since 2005, I think. I've check my notes over here. Yeah, so they was completed in December 2005. Their first spirit in March 2006. So I'm surprised at this. I've not had this before. From reading about it, from my understanding of the point of this whiskey is the low cask influence to try and have the more spirit, like I just said. That being said, that is quite a dark whiskey for the fact that, from what I understand, this is all refill casks. That's what they're using on this, like as neutral as possible. Casks that have been used maybe 2 or 3 times already for a single malt after their initial purpose. So it might be ex-sherry, it might be ex-bourbon, maybe a mix of both. I would say with this colour, there's probably some European oak in there, but yeah, the idea was to make the casks as neutral as possible so that the spirit can shine through, which is... yeah, I think is going to be the next big trend in whiskey. I think that's what people would like to see, is the individuality of distilleries. All right, so now I've had the sip, I've primed my senses. I've not had any whiskey yet today, so give it a nose. I'm getting, yeah, I mean, definitely tropical fruits, but on the creamier side of tropical. So, banana is the obvious one that you kind of go for that, but kind of like a mango pudding, the kind of thing that you might get at a Scottish Chinese buffet. They always have mango pudding for some reason. Yeah, actually very, very mango-y on the nose. There's a nice, there's a sharper note in there as well, kind of maybe like a kiwi. But there is some underlying sort of standard, what you'd expect from a little bit of wood influence, light vanilla, light caramels. But yeah, definitely fruit forward, which is cool. I like fruit. Fruit's good, especially for a summery kind of a whiskey experience, which is good because it's pretty nice outside right now. It's good. It's really nice outside because the Highland Games this weekend. Oh, that tastes very pleasant. So one interesting thing about Kavalan is I've never quite understood what market they're going for, because they're not really going for the whiskey geeks. They don't give you all of the geeky in-depth information, and they also bottle at 40% for the majority of what they release. They do have obviously cask strength editions that are legendary. We had a Kavalan Solist 5 or 6 years ago now that was called Oh So Sherry for Canada. The darkest whiskey I've ever had. It was darker than the bloody 50-year-olds that we got in the store. It was ridiculous. It was a very bizarre whiskey. And the Kavalan just disappeared after that. The reps that brought them in just weren't bringing them in. They weren't really working in BC very much. And we've only just recently managed to get them back in again. So, yeah, let's shout out to the guys at Truth Malters. They're bringing Kavalan back to BC, and we're really happy to see it. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, a mixed tropical fruit salad. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting here. And it's very easy drinking. Like, I think the whole 40% thing, I think the kind of market they're going for is that sort of the same guys that would go and get maybe like a 15-year-old Macallan at the bar, that kind of crowd. And it makes sense. It's got that same sort of really clean flavor profile. There's no rough edges whatsoever. And at 40%, it's drinkable right off the bat. You don't need to worry about adding water, getting the right level, letting it open up or anything. It's just a ready-to-go, thoroughly enjoyable whiskey straight from the bottle. Oh, lovely. All right, well, fan of that. Again, come and try it in store for free. And if you like it, it's 10% off. Regular price right now is $132.96. So with 10% off, that's about $13 off. Should be about $120. Pretty good, eh? All right, now, the premium one. The triple sherry cask. A distinct sherry cask matured. All right. This is a rare combination of 3 exquisite sherry-aged casks, Oloroso, Pedro Jimenez, and Moscatel, which... Drop me a line in the comments if I'm wrong here, but I mean, I'm not a wine expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm fairly sure that Moscatel is not a sherry. Yeah, details. Distilled, matured, and bottled in Taiwan. Lovely. In ancient times, the land of Yilan was called Kavalan, a pristine terrain protected by the soaring snow mountain range and fertile Lanyang Plain. Remote and subtropical, this piece of land is situated in the northeast corner of Taiwan, where bountiful rainfall and water filtered through Yilan's rich volcanic soil collide to provide Kavalan's mineral-rich water source. The history and terroir of this land have combined to create you this exquisite whiskey. That's really nicely put. About this whiskey, Kavalan Triple Sherry Cask Single Malt is a rare combination of 3 exquisite sherry-aged casks, Oloroso, Pedro Jimenez, and Moscatel, with the dried fruits of Oloroso as its main character. Rich caramel and the sweetness of maltose are layered with the distillery's unique tropical fruits to create a delicate but distinct sherried whiskey that can be enjoyed on easy drinking occasion with friends. Lovely. And of the Kavalans that I've had in the past, the wine casks and the sherry casks have been just magnificent. But it's really nice now. I've never had a Kavalan like this where it strips it back. So now you have to have a foundation education on whiskies to truly understand the special editions. Like I've always said, you cannot enjoy a 34-year-old special edition Lafroig, which we have in store right now if you're interested, without knowing the 10-year-old and the quarter cask and knowing the distillery characteristic. You can't fully appreciate those special editions without appreciating the style of the distillery in itself. It's the same with independent bottlings. I love independent bottlings. They're my jam. But to really understand how they've deviated from the flavour profile of the normal characteristics of that distillery, you have to understand the normal flavour characteristics of that distillery. And S&WS Bowmore is incredible, but it's more incredible if you know how it differs from an ordinary Bowmore, right? Anyway, back to the Kavalan. Well, it's certainly a rich, beautiful colour. That is That is beautiful, isn't it? Liking the colour scheme of the cap and everything as well. I like that. I like the red on the box and the cap. Red's a lucky colour in Chinese culture, I believe. Say I believe. I'm fairly certain. I think that's just a normal basic fact of that I know. What I'm less certain of is whether Taiwanese culture also has that link. I think it does. Ooh, there we go. All right. Did I get myself... There it is. Almost made a rookie mistake and got only one glass for 2 whiskies. All right, a good high fill level on this bottle. It smells like making a mince pie with amaretto. I'm getting straight up like Distiller Amaretto sort of notes on the nose. It is, which I like, by the way. If you've seen my my video where we made a Godfather cocktail in a previous unbottling, love a little bit of Distiller. That is a lovely nose. Yeah, nutty, fruity, but with a little tropical note in there. Like, it's the classic mince pie, fruitcake, Christmas pudding kind of notes you get from sherry cask single malts, but with a tropical undertone and more nuttiness, I would say, as well, which is probably coming from the drier climate. The hotter climate. Hotter climates tend to give a drier whiskey, at least in my experience. I worked in a distillery in Melbourne, Australia, which was, again, the same, like 12 to 15% loss a year, which is ridiculous. Very similar approach to Kavalan, actually. And yeah, I mean, it came out as a bit of a nut bun on occasions. Oh, yeah. Macadamia on the nose. Nice creamy macadamia. Love it. All right. The fruit, all that fruit, both dried and tropical, they're on the palate. Dried kiwi, banana chips. But there's a spice on the palate that I didn't really see on the nose. Getting cinnamon, cardamom, clove, all of those kind of things. Really interesting group of spice and tropical fruit is not something I often find together strongly in a whiskey, and it's not something you often find in life either. I mean, maybe in some of the more unique curries, but like tropical fruit and baking spice, interesting combination, and it really kind of does work quite wonders, to be honest. There's a sweetness to this one as well, but it's not a straight up like syrupy sweetness. It's more burnt. It's more not quite molasses, but maybe like a singed honey kind of a thing. Glorious. All right. Well, don't take my word for it. If you're a premium subscriber, premium member of the Dram Association, come in, try this one for free. If you're not, well, at least come in and try this one. Beautiful pair of whiskies. Again, thank you very much to the guys over at Truth Malters for bringing these back into BC. And yeah, I am very satisfied with these 2 whiskies. I didn't realize until now how much I actually missed Kavalan. Like, I knew there was that weird hole where it wasn't here for a few years, and it kind of always felt wrong that we didn't have any. But yeah, no, in that time, I kind of forgot how good it was. So, yeah. If you've forgotten how good it was as well, if you've not had a Kavalan in a few years, celebrate World Whisky Day with me. World Whisky Day is not a specific day. I mean, it is, because that's how days work. But it's more of a state of mind. It's a matter of heart. You can celebrate World Whisky Day every day, and I encourage you to do so with a nice wee bottle of Kavalan. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Slashavar will see you at the next unbottling. And yeah, it's... I've always heard people say that the summer and late spring and summer isn't whiskey drinking season. I disagree. You just haven't found the right whiskies. Keep hunting, keep searching, keep enjoying. Stay safe.